Greetings, Poké fans! Michael here, and today I'm going to be reacting to a video that definitively determines which trainer in Pokemon Red is the best. This video is the Pokemon Red/Blue AI tournament, pitting all the NPC trainers up against each other to figure out which one is the best. The video is by pimanrules, and a huge thank you to them for giving me permission to make this reaction video. Make sure to subscribe to their channel and watch the original video, both linked in the description below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. But anyways, that covers all the intro stuff. Let's dive in. All right, here we go.
Trainers in Pokemon Red are so weak that they can be easily bested by a 7-year-old.
I don't know about easily. I personally remember Pokemon Ruby took me some tries. Not like restarting, but like, I really had to overlevel to beat Brawly. Anyways.
Or an army of Twitch users. But maybe it's unfair
Twitch
to
plays
judge
Pokemon
them by human standards. What would happen if we were to pit all the AI trainers in Pokemon Red against each other in a giant tournament?
I can't wait to see who wins. I feel like the champion rival is the most likely to win. Side note, this visual effect, very cool. No idea how they did it, but it looks awesome.
Who would come out as the strongest of all? And who would be the surprise underdogs? That was the question I set out to answer in my newest project, scientifically ranking the Pokemon Red trainers.
Ooh.
By the way, this video is broken up into several parts. If some of them
well,
don't
we'll watch all of
you,
them, it's fine.
Feel free to skip around. There are convenient timestamps in the description. First, let's talk briefly about how the AI in the Gen 1 Pokemon games actually works.
I'm interested to hear about this because I don't know crap. I may have gotten an engineering degree, but I didn't do much coding except for that one class. Cam 210. Just no Sundays. Anyways.
There are 391 trainers coded in the game, and they all follow the same basic AI. Each turn they start by picking a move. Each of the up to 4 moves they can choose from starts with a priority value of 10. The lower the number, the higher the priority. Then, based on the trainer's class, up to 3 modifications are applied to these priority values. The first modification strongly deprioritizes moves that only inflict a status ailment if the opposing Pokemon already has a status. Almost all trainers use this modification.
That would make a lot of sense. This is really cool, actually. Wait, I'm learning so much already. It's only been a minute 19.
The second modification slightly prioritizes moves that have certain effects, such as healing or raising stats. This modification is supposed to apply only on the second turn a Pokemon is out. But, well, we'll get back to that. Only a select
foreshadowing.
Few trainers follow this modification.
Oh, wait. Go back. What are the trainers?
We'll get back to that. Only a select
Pokemaniacs, Super Nerds, Jugglers, Psychics, Chief Scientists, Gentlemen, and Lorelei like their secondary effects. Interesting. Lorelei makes sense, making her go for the ice moves, maybe to get a freeze. Potentially.
Few trainers follow this modification. The third and final modification slightly prioritizes moves that are super effective. However, this calculation is a bit primitive. It doesn't care whether the move actually does damage.
I know about this. That's how the ATV, All-Terrain Venomoth, in Twitch Plays Pokemon was able to beat Lance's Dragonite because it knew Barrier. It's like, oh, Psychic's super effective on Venomoth's poison, but Barrier doesn't do damage, so it just spams Barrier instead of attacking.
And it doesn't bother checking both types of a dual-type Pokemon. This leads to interesting quirks, like the trainers in Celadon Gym that won't try to hurt you if you come at them with the Bulbasaur, because they just spam poison. The third modification is used by a larger handful of trainers. Once the appropriate modifications have been applied, the AI picks randomly between the moves with the highest priority. Of course, using moves isn't the only thing trainers can do. A handful of trainers have additional AI routines that allow them to perform actions like using items or switching out their Pokemon.
Looks like it's listing the, mainly the gym leaders.
These also correlate to trainer class, and they usually follow logic like, if health is below 1/5, then with 50% probability, use a super potion. Otherwise, use the selected move.
Only 50% probability? That's fascinating. It's not, I feel like later generations, after it reaches a certain point, using it's guaranteed. Maybe? Can I just say Pieman is doing an excellent job of explaining this.
These actions can be done a limited number of times, which resets when switching out. So then, we know how the AI works, but how are we going to pit them against each other?
This visual effect is so cool!
Well, since the AI is so simple, it would be easy enough to just implement in Python. Then we could wire
Easy enough in Python, you know, that software that I've never once used.
it up to a locally running instance of Pokemon Showdown set to the Gen 1 rule set. But this doesn't feel entirely in the spirit of things. I want to see how strong these trainers are in their home turf, and that means actually running Pokemon Red. So, here's how the system works. The basic setup is that we have two emulators that are kept in sync, but mirrored from one another. So,
The drama.
say we're pitting Blaine
When you're hot,
against Misty.
Excuse me? When you're hot, you're hot. Is that a line from the anime? That caught me off guard. Like,
Misty, Misty.
oh, I know that reference! That's from the old Pokemon spoof video, where it's like, you know, with like badly drawn cartoons, you know? They're walking faster than us. He's a clever one, you know? I want Agumon. That's a Digimon, Ash. Yeah, it's a trash animation, I think.
On one emulator, we'll set up a save state where the opposing trainer is Misty, and the player has a party identical to Blaine's. Then, whenever the player needs to make a choice, we take a save state, swap the data for the player and the enemy, then load that save state in the second emulator. From there, we let the battle play out, and see what action Blaine, who's now controlled by the game's AI, takes.
That's so
Then,
cool.
It's a simple matter of pressing the right buttons in the original game to perform that action. This does unfortunately still leave a few quirks because of the way the game treats the player trainer versus enemy trainers. For example, player Pokemon gain XP if they defeat an enemy, and use up PP when using moves. These are easy enough to disable though, by just hard-coding memory values. But even with these accounted for, there still exist two subtle differences. The first has to do with priority. The player is always able to switch out or use an item before the enemy moves, while enemy trainer actions get priority based off the speed of their Pokemon and the priority of the move that they would have used had they not instead taken an action. This means the enemy trainer has to win the speed check, or select a move like Quick Attack, in order to take actions before the player moves. Second, some AI trainers
That's wild. Did they? So does that mean sometimes they can like heal before or after you attack? I don't understand this. That's crazy.
will try healing their Pokemon even when they're at full health, thus wasting a turn. However, the game won't let the player do this to their own Pokemon. These quirks hopefully won't have too much of an impact on the final results.
Aha! It is I, Guarantee Boy! No, I am not dealing with this today. As if you could escape me. What are you doing? Drowning you out using my earbuds from Raycon, the sponsor of today's video. Oh yeah, Raycon! They make fabulous earbuds. They're premium wireless audio for half the price, available in a range of colors, patterns, and fit options. They have 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design for a comfortable noise-isolating fit. And I know all this because I have my own. You know, that I stole from you. Yeah, I'm really enjoying using them. I love listening to my music and podcasts with them when I'm out and about, you know, committing crimes, since the lack of dangling wires lets them not get in my way and keeps me from having to look at a screen. I am obsessed with them, you know, just like other celebrities like Snoop Dogg or whatever, and I must say I'm enjoying them even more knowing that I stole them from you. You're not the hottest PokéTuber! Excuse me? Aha! Gotcha! Now you have to listen to me taunt you about having stolen your Raycons. Oh, is that all you were saying? Well, that doesn't bother me. Raycon prioritizes customer experience start to finish and has a 45-day return policy, so my buying experience was very pleasant. Plus, anyone can get 15% off by going to buyraycon.com/MandJTV, linked in the description below. Oh. Well, Darn. I guess we'll both just enjoy our Raycon earbuds now. I will certainly enjoy mine. But anyways, why did you come here? Just to annoy you. I wasn't able to get you with the theft taunting, but I gotta say, I did get you by telling you you're not the hottest PokéTuber. And not really. I was just shocked at such an outlandishly false statement. Fair. Well, I guess I'll have to get you next time. Ta-ta! Well, all right. Anyways, thanks so much to Raycon for sponsoring, but now, back to the video.
With everything wired up and all the major bugs ironed out, we're ready to run the tournament. I pitted trainer against trainer until everyone had a chance to fight everyone else
cool.
in a true round-robin style, plus a few battles on top of that for good measure. In total, I ran over 87,000 battles. That's about 4,000 hours worth of battles, and collected statistics about each trainer's performance.
I really hope he sped up the game.
Which we'll take a look at in just a bit. The most basic statistic is the win-loss draw ratio. You might be wondering how draws can happen in non-competitive Pokemon. Even if both Pokemon faint at the same time, the game will still declare a winner. Well, because the AI is so primitive and is unhindered by PP constraints, there are lots of scenarios where two AI trainers will get themselves locked in an endless battle. Because of this, I instituted two draw scenarios. The 75 turn rule, inspired by the similar rule in chess, counts the battle as a draw if 75 turns go by without either side taking damage.
That's a good... Wait, taking damage?
The 1,000 turn rule counts the battle as a draw if 1,000 turns go by without either side winning.
Oh, God. That sounds miserable. Oh, wow. That's wild. Man, the amount of coding that went into this is really impressive.
I also count the match as a draw if the emulator freezes or some other unaccounted for bug occurs, but fortunately, that didn't happen too many times.
Okay, that's nice.
The second statistic I calculated is an ELO score. This should be familiar to anyone who plays chess or
No.
Pokemon Showdown, as well as a host of other games. It's very similar to the MMR systems used in a variety of competitive games. Basically, every player has a score, which goes up when they win and down when they lose.
Okay.
The clever bit is that the amount the score changes varies based on the score differential between the two competitors. So for example, you gain more points for beating a significantly stronger opponent, but likewise lose more for losing to an underdog. This makes ELO a better overall indicator of skill than the win ratio, because it accounts for the skill of your opponents. It's not necessarily the most well suited for this type of tournament though, because the combatants are static AI. ELO is designed to capture the change in a person's performance over time, and thus can potentially change dramatically based off the order of matchups.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. How does he account for this? Because it's seemingly like the order of battles is like not really tracked. It's just the total performance.
Despite this downside, I chose to use it for this project because I hoped it would be familiar to a lot of people and provide an easily sortable score for each trainer.
I also feel like just the sheer number of battles, like he was saying that it would change depending on the order you did, but I feel like the sheer number probably accounts for that. Like it's 87,000 total battles. Like I feel like that would make things average out well. I hope.
Mainly though, I just wanted to steal Tom Seven's excellent name, ELO World. Of course, kids these days don't care about stinky math and numbers, they like tier lists. So I also categorized each trainer into a tier, from F to S. And, because I like to pretend to be a data scientist, I decided to try a mathematical approach to tiering. Since we already have an ELO score for each trainer, dividing them into tiers is basically just a data science problem of dividing up a sorted list of numbers. A kernel density estimation is a good way of doing that, or so.
All right, this is starting to get out of my familiarity range. Oh, who am I kidding? It's been there.
I'm told, which results in a graph like this. The local minima of this graph represents places in the ELO scale that have a low density of trainers. In other words, natural boundaries between tiers. Of course, that's way too many divisions, so we can tweak the bandwidth of the kernel until we find a number of divisions that feels appropriate for a tier list. Then, like any good data scientist, we can look at the beautiful mathematically perfect numbers our calculations reduced, decide they don't feel right, and just kind of fudge it until we like it. The result of that fudging is the tier you'll see as we scroll through the list of trainers.
I love that. Do all this stuff. Fun fact, I was recruited to like apply and interview for a data science company like 2 years after graduating, and I'm like, I am a YouTuber. Go away.
Finally, here you'll see each trainer's greatest victory and defeat. That is,
Nice.
the highest Alo trainer they won against and the lowest Alo trainer they lost against. So, without further ado, let's start the ranking. In very last place,
Love this music.
squarely in F tier, we have the first rival battle against Squirtle.
Obviously. That is the lowest trainer in the game, isn't it? Maybe? Actually, no, now that I think about it, like a youngster with a Pidgey or Rattata, that's interesting. Also, again, the visual effects, I don't know how he did it. These are incredible. Is this something like Blender or something? I don't know.
You fight the rivals several times throughout the game, of course, and the rivals team varies based off what starter you picked, so the rival ends up accounting for 24 of the 391 trainers in the list. Anyway, with the team consisting of a single level 5 Pokemon, it's not surprising that the rival finds himself in last place. What's mildly surprising, however, is the fact that the rival with the Bulbasaur so outperformed the other two.
Bulbasaur is the best Kanto starter. That's not surprising to me. There's a lot of rock types and a lot of water types.
Earning himself a spot in D- tier. This is probably because of Bulbasaur's unique dual typing. Making our way through D- tier and up to D tier, we find a plethora of bug catchers and the second rival encounter from Viridian City. This time, the Squirtle rival is able to join the Bulbasaur in D tier, thanks to learning Bubble, but Charmander continues to lag behind. D tier is pretty big compared to the first two, and is home to a number of unremarkable trainers.
This is so cool. These visuals are just, how long did this take? I'm just blown away by this editing.
However, it is also home to the biggest upset victory in the game.
Oh.
Rocker number 2, with an Alo of just 707, managed to beat the B+ tier swimmer number 13 with an Alo of 1867.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. He's got 2 electric types up against a Starmie that's less than 10 levels higher. That doesn't surprise me now that I see what it was. Cool to know about the upset, though. Like, good for you, rocker guy. You suck most of the time. Maybe because you keep blowing up your Pokemon.
Looking at their teams, it should be clear why. The rocker has a major type advantage over the swimmer.
Yep.
Obviously, he just overwhelmed the poor swimmer with a torrent of super effective electric type Oh. Well, that does technically count as a loss for the player trainer.
Oh, he just blew up.
Well done, Rocker number 2. D tier is also home to the first gym leader, Pewter City's own Brock. Looking at the trainers around him in the ranking, it seems he's only slightly more powerful than the other trainers near Pewter City.
Oh, yeah, wait. Weird that this hiker right above him is like, has more Pokemon, yeah, but they're weaker and is somehow did a bit better. That's interesting. You can see the green bars kind of grow.
In
Well, sort of.
C- tier, we find the green fight from Cerulean City. As you can see, Bulbasaur is maintaining its lead in the rival starter rankings.
Makes sense.
Near the top of C+ tier, we find a trainer with a rather unique strategy, the Juggler. The Juggler is one of the few classes that will actually switch out their Pokemon. Female cool trainers, for example, will do this with some forethought. They'll have a chance of switching out if their Pokemon's HP is low. The Juggler is much simpler. They'll just switch out every turn with a 25% chance. I believe this is what the kids...
Oh, 'cause it's a juggler! That's genius!
call a big brain strategy. Unfortunately for Juggler number 5 though, this didn't quite pay off, and we find a Victory Road trainer down here with the SSN Scrubs. Except, no, that analysis is not entirely correct. This particular Juggler's failing had nothing to do with switching out Pokemon too often, As you can see, he doesn't even have a Pokemon to switch to.
Right.
His problem is that his lone Mr. Mime has only a single attacking move, Double Slap. Not the most effective strategy either.
That makes sense.
Anyway, just barely squeaking by into B- tier, we find the second gym leader, Misty. It's curious to see that she's so much higher in the ranking than Brock, and substantially higher than the trainers around Cerulean City. Around the middle of B- tier, we find Beauty number 10, who is notable for partaking in the longest battle I caught on video, one of only 4 battles in the entire tournament to end in a draw by the 1,000-turn limit.
Oh, that just, my God, that's so many.
Her opponent was last number 5 from back in D tier. With her level 29 Bulbasaur and Ivysaur, you'd think the Beauty would be sure to win, but alas, Oddish is Grass Poison type, so the Beauty just spends the entire battle trying to use Poison Powder on it to no avail. Meanwhile, the Oddish is spamming Absorb, which seems to be missing pretty often for a 100% accuracy move. In fact, it's not missing, but instead dealing 0 damage, which the Gen 1 games register as a miss. With neither side doing any damage, the battle would normally end by the 75-turn rule. But once in a while, Oddish is able to pull off a critical hit, dealing 1 damage at a time to Ivysaur and resetting the 75-turn counter.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That Oddish is just so bad. I didn't know about the 0 damage thing. I genuinely didn't know that. I guess in later gens they made it so it will do 1 damage, but that's so funny.
This battle went on for an hour and 20 minutes before being cut short by the 1,000-turn rule. My condolences to the last. She surely would have won if it weren't for that. Eventually, anyway. In B- tier, we also find Lieutenant Surge, perhaps surprisingly not dramatically higher in the ranking than Misty.
Yeah, Pokemon are just a bit stronger. I love the music choice. Oh, we're really going. We are going.
In B+ tier, we find the Karate Master of the Fighting Dojo. You know, B+ seems a bit low for someone vying for the title of Saffron City.
Oh yeah, he's
Gym
lower
Leader.
than the Scientist.
Based on the ranking, he falls somewhere between Lieutenant Surge in B- and Erica in A-. His competitor, Sabrina, is nowhere to be seen. Well, we'll get back to Sabrina.
Oh, Sabrina's gonna be good.
Speaking of Erica, here she is now. A- is a pretty respectable rank
look at
for
that
the
win
Celadon
ratio.
City Gym Leader. But what's this? Oh no, poor Lorelei.
Wait, look at those draws! Why are there so many draws for Lorelei? Why is she only an A- despite being an Elite Four member? What is going on? She's only 1 spot above the rival with 20 Pokemon. Level 20 something Pokemon. What?
Thought we'd see a member of the Elite Four all the way down here. Battles against Lorelei follow a predictable pattern. She opens with Dugong, who then just spams Rest for the entire battle. This strategy naturally leads to Lorelei having by far the highest draw count of all trainers. Over 1/3 of all draws in the tournament are attributable to Lorelei. But why does she spam Rest so much, at the expense of anything else?
Yeah.
Well, remember what I said earlier about the AI prioritizing healing moves on the second turn a Pokemon is in battle? Well, funny story. I realized at the last minute while writing the script that there was actually a bug in my code. It never updates the enemy turn counter. So, presumably, Lorelei is just stuck prioritizing Rest for the entire battle, when actually she should only do it for the second turn. Oops. Or so I thought. But no, actually, if you look at the base save state I'm using, the enemy turn counter isn't stuck on turn 2, it's stuck on turn 1. So actually, Lorelei isn't over-prioritizing Rest, she's under-prioritizing it. And if you look at the teams she drew against, you can actually see why she used Rest so much. Almost all of them have a fighting or poison type Pokemon, and Rest is a psychic type move. So while my code did have a bug in it, it was really to her benefit, and Lorelei's poor performance in this tournament is entirely on her. Anyway, unsurprisingly,
that was a roller coaster. My God, I loved that. I was like, oh, this crazy thing. Oh, it's because he made a mistake. Okay, that's for, wait, no, it's because the Gen 1 AI is dumb with super effective moves.
Surprisingly, among the Pokemon Tower rivals, Ivysaur leads the pack.
It's so funny that like the trainers that have a psychic type status move, like Rest or Barrier, can really be screwed over in this because of just the endless amount of poison types in Gen 1. Because they want to keep using that psychic move that doesn't do damage. Also, I should have mentioned this earlier because it just kicked in, but like I didn't know that the AI trainers can never run out of PP in Gen 1. They definitely can in later games because you can stall it out, but I didn't know they couldn't run out in Gen 1.
Moving on to A tier, we predictably find Koga, followed by Blaine, and the Viridian City Giovanni, mixed in with a scattering of Victory Road trainers and Silph rivals.
Oh, Bruno.
Once again, the Venusaur rival maintains its lead. Then,
Makes
kicking
sense.
off A+ tier, finally we find Sabrina,
So
sitting
good.
at a cool 2370 Elo, well ahead of all the other gym leaders,
Makes perfect
and
sense.
even Bruno of the Elite Four.
I mean, she'd crush Bruno. Her psychic types are so powerful. So powerful. Psychic's broken.
Just a few spots shy of Agatha. I think Bulbapedia puts it best when it says, Psychic type Pokemon had virtually no match in the Gen
Yep.
1 games.
There you
My
go.
condolences this time go out to the Saffron City Karate Master. He really didn't stand a chance. Rounding out the Elite Four, we find Lance in the number 8 slot. At least the
Number
Elite
8,
Four has
okay.
the decency to sort themselves in the proper order. Between him and the champion, though, we find the rival fight from Route 22. Once again, it's the Venusaur rival that pulls ahead of the pack to earn himself a spot in 5th place.
Interesting. He included the unused trainer data for Professor Oak, and that it lost to the rival, despite having Pokemon of a far higher level.
Then, finally, we reach the champion rival himself. In 4th place, with 2516 Elo, it's the Venusaur champion, who in a shocking upset
Maybe he's
was
not gonna talk about
unable
it.
to maintain his otherwise consistent lead in the very end. In 3rd, with 2527, the Blastoise
Wait,
champion.
only 3rd.
And finally, in 2nd place, with an impressive 25.
Wait, who's first? Is it the third? Oh, it's the last Oak
Charizard
one. Okay.
Champion. Wait, 2nd place? Yes, my friends, there is a trainer that beats out even the champion rival. Standing alone in S tier,
There it is.
with 2559 Elo, the undisputed strongest trainer in all of Pokemon Red is Professor Oak with a Blastoise.
Interesting.
Now, I won't blame you if you don't remember the Professor Oak fight in Pokemon Red. It never actually appears in the game, but in the game's data is a full set of rosters for 3 Professor Oak fights, in each case using the fully evolved starter left behind by you and your rival. This fight was probably meant to be a post-game true final boss that got cut at some point in development. It's a shame, because the data
Agreed.
shows Professor Oak would have been a truly formidable opponent. Before we wrap up, there's just one more fun graph I want to show you.
Oh, but why? Why were the other 2 Professor Oaks weaker than the champions? I still have questions. How did the rival? It's Professor Oak, Blastoise, the 3 champion rivals, and then the 2 Professor Oaks. Why were the 2 Professor Oaks weaker than the champions? I'm so confused.
So far, we've been looking at trainers in order of their Elo, but we could also look at them in the order you fight them in the actual game. The x-axis in this graph shows
Oh.
the order each trainer is fought based off Bulbapedia's walkthrough of Pokemon Red, and the y-axis shows
That
Elo.
is interesting.
This graph is a ton of fun to stare at, and there's lots of interesting things to see. First off, it trends upwards, which is a pretty good sign that we're doing something right with our methodology. Moreover, all the gym leaders in rival fights stand out above the rest of the pack, clearly indicating their superior strength.
Yep.
It's also easy to spot the trainers who hugely underperform, like Scientist number 5 from Silph, whose party consists of a single Electrode with self-destruct, or Fishers number 9 and 11, who have teams of just Magikarp. Perhaps the most interesting thing about this graph is the way it levels off towards the middle. This
That makes sense to me. It makes sense that it levels off because the progression of the Kanto games is just like, you reach a certain point and then it's like, all right, you can go everywhere now. Like, as soon as you get the Poke Flute, you've got half the freaking region. Like that entire route from Celadon to Fuchsia and from Lavender to Fuchsia, that's just so many trainers that they have to make around the same strength because you can fight them at any, like, you can go this way, you can go this way, you can go this way, and then this way, and it's just like, that makes sense. That's the leveling off point. With like Fuchsia, look, Fuchsia's right in the middle of that flat point. So that makes perfect sense to me.
Spawns with the branching path in the middle of the game, where you can choose to fight either Koga or Sabrina first.
Sorry, I stole his thunder.
People generally consider Koga to be the easier fight, and we can clearly see in the graph that choosing to fight Sabrina first results in a large difficulty spike.
Yep.
It's interesting that the Bulbapedia editors chose this order for their walkthrough. Perhaps someone should suggest a revision.
That was a fascinating video. I'm very impressed with the visual effects and the coding that was involved, and I still want to know, like, what was the reason behind the other two Professor Oaks being weaker than the champion? I don't know. I feel like another interesting sequel that could be done could be taking the AIs of the various trainer classes and giving them the same teams. So you're ranking it based, because this ranking system ranks them based on the AI and the team. I think it'd be really cool to see like which trainer class, like which trainer specifically has the best AI. It's probably still the champion, but you could just give all the trainers, like it'd be a lot easier because there'd be a lot fewer trainers to do because you like just one instance of each class. I think that would be really cool to see. But this was a fantastic video. I loved it. Thanks again to pimanrules for giving me permission to make this video. Make sure to go check out their channel linked in the description below. And thank you so much for watching, with an extra special thanks to my patrons over on Patreon who are helping support my channel independent of fluctuating YouTube ad rates. If you want to help support me in the same way, the link is in the description below. Also, if you want to check out more of my fun Pokemon content, I recommend these videos here. All right, that's all I have for now. So until next time, big fans, gotta catch them all.